What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic CM. It's episode number 21 and we're starting today's episode by changing the position of one of our youngsters out of the academy, Hugo Stokes. I've given him very limited game time this season, just 3 games in total, changing from a centre half to right back just because we've got an abundance of centre halves in our academy right now and he's got more chance of getting slight game time in a different position. So no change to his overall, remains 61 overall, has great potential, but yeah, can't see him doing too much for us in the future unless he really kicks on. And also, as well, have to say this is really interesting indeed. Right now, they're sitting 11th place in the table, so below us by 2, 4 points behind, and we've played a game extra as well. But for the first time in the save, I was offered a managerial job elsewhere, and I have to say, I was considering it, but I decided against it. I stayed at Burnley, decided to turn down Leicester City. It was a really interesting decision though, because as I mentioned before at the very start of this series, I'm more than willing to move clubs and do a journeyman save in this series here. Would really like to do it, but it needs to be the right offer. And I thought Leicester City, it actually would kind of make sense. They've sacked Brendan Rodgers, they're in mid-table, they're not doing as well as they ordinarily do. But I thought about where we're heading with Burnley, the way we've been rebuilding this club and transitioning them a little bit. And obviously with Leicester struggling quite mightily. We are, 2/3 of the way through the season. We're in the business end of the season now. We're pushing and trying our very, very best to stay in the hunt for a Europa League place. And it is still mathematically possible, although unlikely. And of course, don't forget, we're into the FA Cup semi-finals against the Championship leaders, Newcastle United. That's our final game of today's episode, the 5th one of April. Some big ones coming this month as well. Chelsea away, Manchester United at home, and then 3 of the teams down the bottom, Watford, Norwich, and Nottingham Forest as well. The Magpies coming as the penultimate game of the month of April. But yeah, I really did consider it. And if Leicester were where they were last season in real life, if right now they were like 5th or 6th place in the game, possibly even 7th or 8th really, I'll be honest here, I probably would have jumped ship and said, you know what, my time at Turf Moor has been brief, we've done a lot, Leicester see the long-term vision in me, I'll move on to the King Power, because they are struggling quite mightily, and you probably say, based on the way we're rebuilding this side here, we've got a decent chance, just as much as they probably do really, of being able to break up the traditional top 6, if you will, and push for European places in the next couple of years. I thought it was probably better to stay at Burnley. If a bigger club was to come in, if we're talking about the likes of, I don't even know, Chelsea, for example, our first opponents of today's episode came in, I would definitely, probably move on, as the job offer will be too good to turn down, and realistically, you probably expect to see that. But Leicester City, wasn't entirely sure. It was a really tough decision. I thought about it for quite a while, but in the end, hopefully, I've made the right call. Anyway, yeah, first game of this episode, Challenge League winners Chelsea here away at Stamford Bridge, and oh my goodness gracious me, they went 1-0 up through Kai Havertz, fan favourite, and then they went 2-0 up through Matteo, but Jack Stacey had to show you the replay for it. Bro, get in the gym. That was just embarrassing and emasculating. Totally shrugged off the ball as Chelsea went 2-0 up, and then 22 minutes to go. Timo Werner makes it through as the German converts their third of the game. Doesn't struggle on FIFA quite as much as he has in real life. Although, as I said before, sometimes FIFA criticism can be a little bit too harsh for his first season in a new country. But he made it free, and then the Germans, the German Kai Havertz got the 4th goal of the game in a 4-0 victory as he bagged his brace. So big defeat there away at Stamford Bridge, and yeah, I think it's basically all over now. I mean, we're mathematically, with 7 games to go, still in with a shot, but it's a double-digit deficit in the race for a Europa League spot. And again, don't forget, 7th or 6th could give it to us, as there's no Europa Conference League in FIFA for now. But again, the board only would be satisfied with 5th. I would definitely take 6th or 7th. But again, as I said at the start of the season, that was incredibly unlikely, an incredibly tough objective. Top 10 for me would be more than good enough. So for the second game of this episode, Manchester United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side, trying to stay in the title race, taking us on here at Turf Moor. Took the lead through Josh De Silva, making it 1-0. What a great signing he's been, as he gives us the early advantage. But the Red Devils would get back on level terms 8 minutes before the break. And was there any doubt this guy was going to convert this free kick? My arch nemesis, Bruno Fernandes. As soon as he placed the ball down, I knew top bins, it was going in, and it did indeed. Red Devils back on level terms. Always scores against me, always as a stormer. Bruno Fernandes continues his good form against me. So 1-1. Nick Pope made a great save in the second half to keep us still on level terms. The Red Devils look to turn the game on its head and find themselves a winning goal with 21 minutes to go on the clock. Oh, yes, rising highest, leaping like a salmon. Tyrese Campbell, second goal since coming in on transfer deadline day back in January. Obviously scored on his debut, hadn't scored since then, but now he's back on the score sheet. I should say in the Premier League. Now he's back on the score sheet in the Premier League. Second goal in the Premier League, 2-1. Burnley back in front. And to be fair, I felt we were full value for this as well. Manchester United didn't play too badly, but our football was superb. With 10 minutes to go, Tyrese bags his second, makes it 3-1. He and Callum Wilson, great partnership in this game. And one assist from Callum Wilson as well. I love the little back heel as he plays it into the former Stoke man who converts from close range. So a scalp, we don't get many of them, but we get one here, and we get our revenge on the side that beat us in the FA Cup final last year. 4-3. 3-1 the final score, big win there, and again we stay in the hunt for a top 7 place, and a big win there gave me a little bit more confidence. So for the third game of today's episode, the Hornets, Watford, taking on Turf Moor, aiming for back-to-back wins against the side right now, just outside the relegation zone, and we would take the lead as well. Callum Wilson, our top scorer this year, staying in the race for the Golden Boot right now, gives us the opener and puts us in front, and then right before the break, a chance to make it 2-0. Wilson holds the ball up, waits for round to come towards him. He doesn't, so he finds Longstaff. What a through ball to Dwight McNeil, and what a finish as well. A couple of really nice assists in these two games here. Fantastic ball from the former Magpie, and McNeil converts from close range to make it 2-0. So glad we managed to keep hold of him this season. Whether we'll keep hold of him next season, not entirely sure. We know there's big interest from European clubs. Surely it's only a matter of time before a traditional Big 6 team comes knocking in the Premier League. So 2-0 Burnley, and we wrap the points up with 60 minutes to go. Reece Nelson makes it 3, drills it into the bottom corner and finds our third. So back-to-back games where we score 3, back-to-back games where we win. Big victory there. And for the following game of today's episode, now this was an interesting one. Back-to-back victories. We are closing the gap on the top 7 right now, taking on Norwich away at Carrow Road, down the bottom of the table, struggling to survive. And by the way, have you guys seen the news about Norwich City? Emi Buendia, Stuart Webber, I've sung his praises before, accepting that bid from Aston Villa. They would make a massive profit after the signing from Getafe. It was 1.5 mil they paid for the Spaniards for the services of Emi Buendia. Fan favourite at Carrow Road Day. He'll be tough to replace, but then again, they replaced James Maddison. I'll tell you what, if they can replace Buendia with a player of similar ability, the profit they're making there, absolutely superb. But will they be able to replace him? That's the real question as they go up to the Premier League for next season. We're taking them on regardless. Norwich would take the lead after I gave away a penalty with Coughlin, and Dwight Gale made it 2, and he was really hard to stop in this game. He won the penalty, he scored the second, and then he set up the third. Yeah, it was a Dwight Gale masterclass in this game at Carrow Road as Vrankic made it 3, and you would have seen by my lineup as well, I rested a lot of players for the game because it came in midweek. And whilst we were starting to get some good form going, when I say that, back-to-back victories, I felt with the FA Cup semi-final on the weekend, I needed my first team fit, fresh, and fighting on all cylinders for a chance to reach the FA Cup final back-to-back. Taking on the Magpies, 3 games to go in the Championship, 118 points. They've smashed the points record in the Championship, so they had a really good chance of shocking us here at Wembley, pulling off the cup set and making it through to the cup final and being the first Championship side since, I want to say Cardiff. First Championship side since Cardiff? Pompey? No. Not sure. First Championship side since someone making the FA Cup final. Taking them on here though, and this was going to be a game where I thought if I failed to win this one, we'd been given another relatively favourable run by the FIFA gods here to get to the Cup semi-final. Got to make sure we get to the final back-to-back with firm favourites to make it through. And after Maximine drilled a shot into the side netting early on, I felt we'd come under some pressure. We needed to relieve something 12 minutes in. Can I just say, to bring this guy back permanently, he wanted to return, and you can see why. Absolutely loved here at Turf Moor. Reece Nelson bangs in our first goal on loan from Arsenal last year. Now we bring him back permanently, makes it 1-0. By the way, the celebration. How cool is that? I find it hard to leap over the advertising hoardings in this year's FIFA. I can get onto them, I can get close to them, I can celebrate with the fans in the away end, for example, but actually leaping over them, I don't know why, but I find it hard to do that when I'm celebrating. But Nelson made it 2-0, and then Wilson, of course, he was going to score against his former club, makes it 2-0 as we double the lead. But the Magpies would not give up, so Maxime with a great assist here finds Ryan Fraser, who bags in their goal right before the break to half the deficit and make it 2-1. It was, again, quite a tricky first half, which was really even. We were just lucky to have taken our chances. So 2-1, the Magpies half the deficit, get right back in the game, and in the second half, foot right, cannot throw this away, cannot throw away a 2-goal lead. Gotta make sure we see this game out and make the final. Reece Nelson's now with 22 minutes to go, it's still 2-1 after playing some really good defence and also winning balls back in midfield a lot in the second half, trying to prevent the Magpies from getting too many chances. Stoppage time, still leading by 1, a chance to restore the 2-goal cushion, bag our third and wrap the semi-final up, and we do so through you know who. Reece Nelson scores again, second goal of the game, man. I love this guy to pieces. Again, was it 17 million all we paid Arsenal to get him back? And yes, there's that big buyback clause. I think it was 50 or perhaps 60 million that we negotiated with the Gunners. They can buy him back for that if he continues to develop. But I hope they never come trying to get the guy back to the Emirates Stadium. So I love him to pieces, and will be taking on his former team in the final as well. Yes, Arsenal beat the Red Devils in the semi, so the hold has been knocked out by the Gunners, and will be taking on the most successful club in FA Cup history. They've won it more than any other team. I think they've won it 4 times in the past decade as well. Arsenal at Wembley in the FA Cup final. I said last year, after our defeat to Manchester United, we would be back, and we are the very next season. Delighted. But that was this episode of the Realistic CM, guys. Big thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, if you hadn't, please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode, which is the penultimate episode of Season 2, as we play our final 4 games in the Premier League, where it is still mathematically a slim chance of qualifying for Europe as we build up to the FA Cup final very soon. Have a great day, guys. Much love, and I'll see you for the penultimate episode very soon.